Imagine that time when you witnessed someone that was just so bitter, so nasty. Every chance they got, they was like, every chance they had, excuse me, they were just spewing hate. And you just could see it. It wasn't hard to tell. It was oozing out of their pores, right? What did you say to yourself? Did you think it was cool? Did you think it was disgusting? Disgusting. Did you think it was ridiculous? Like, what was your thought? What was the thought that you had? Were you like just completely repulsed by them? That shows a lot about your character when it comes to when you see people like that and how you feel about it, like what your perception is. It tells you a lot about yourself, okay? And this is the spirit message. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to Milk Honey Rose. I'm Mystic Alchemy. Thank you for being here. All right, so when you see someone that's just bitter and just angry all the time, how you perceive that and how you take that in, well, not really take it in, but observe it. How does it make you feel? Like, what is your judgment? Because, you know, people say don't judge, but at the same time, it's natural for us to judge. That's how we protect ourselves, and that's how we either deem someone as suitable to be around us or not. So it's a legit attribute that we have to our being. We need that. Okay. So back to these messages. That was just a side note. Okay, I'm hearing something. Allow their bitterness to enhance your sweetness. Allow their bitterness to enhance your sweetness. The response that someone who has like a healthier way of viewing things, they're not going to like someone that's walking around bitter and complaining all the time. They're just not going to like it. They're not going to have a desire to be around someone like that and to communicate with someone like that, because it's like we don't have anything in common. If you're behaving yourself like that, we don't have anything in common. Okay? And this helps you to recognize more of who you are. When you see other people and how you're so different from them, and, you know, everyone has their own way of taking in the world and of expressing themselves. However, it has a lot to do with the phases that people go through in their life. Okay. There's phases that we go through of learning. Like, we go through these phases of learning different things. And, you know, in the beginning, it's a rough road. It's rocky because there's a lot that you need to learn before you get to a place of emotional regulation. And when you see people that's just really bitter and always want to argue, there's a lot of trauma trapped inside that they haven't addressed yet, and it's causing them to lash out. It's hard for them to gain control, okay? So it's likely that they're just going to be a loose cannon. So it's like if you're someone who you feel like you have like anger issues, you know, there's a lot of shadow work that needs to be done. That's the only way that you're going to start feeling better about your life and about yourself. If you're someone who struggles with that, it's a real struggle. And it's not to put you down or make you feel bad. It's just the simple fact that it is what it is. And life is not easy. It's a challenge. You have to figure it out as you go. There's no real manual for it. Okay. I know that on my journey, honestly, even though that all information in the Bible isn't necessarily right, okay, we know that, for those who know that, because the Bible is pieced together from a bunch of ancient text and then manipulated, and there's extra stuff put in there. And that could be very controversial now. So it is what it is. Take it or leave it. However, it is what it is. When you do the research, you'll find that out if you want to know. If you truly want to know for yourself to pass that judgment. But even with that being said, when I started my spiritual journey, I picked up that Bible because what else was I to do? I didn't really feel like church was as helpful because I needed to see on my own. Just listening to someone else's experience wasn't enough for me to have somebody teach me. I needed to be hands on myself. So I picked up the Bible and I read it. A lot of people don't pick up the Bible and read it themselves. And I'm not like being a Bible thumper. I'm not pushing it on you because everybody has their own way of, I guess it was like an entry level for me, but everyone has their own way of connecting to their self, the God within them. You know, everybody has their own way. So I'm not like telling you to do it how I did it. I'm just expressing my experience because I'm being led to this space right now. But yeah, I started with the Bible and I started with Psalms actually. And then once I got through Psalms, I went to the beginning. Or actually, I went to the beginning first. I went to Genesis first. And then I went to Psalms. And then I kind of like started from the beginning to the end. But yeah, it was just a foundational thing for me. I had to start from somewhere. And Psalms is a very peaceful book in the Bible. It's very foundational, to say the least. And when you think about it, even though it was pieced together from ancient African and Egyptian text, it's like, how can I say? Sometimes in life you have to take the good with the bad. You know, we actually have to do that all the time when I think about it. I said it out loud, and that's just something that comes with life. You have to take the good with the bad and do what you can. Do the best you can with what you have, right? It's kind of like, it reminds me of that saying, if you have lemons, make lemonade. It's like something like that. That's the analogy that's coming to mind. But yeah, you know, life is challenging, and many people walk around with anger that has never been addressed. They walk around with experiences that they had that they never talked about to anybody, not even themselves, and it's eating them up from the inside out. So if you feel like you're someone that struggles with that, you know, it's time to address those things. Give it a name. Understand it. Why did it happen to me? What did I learn from it? If you don't feel like you learned anything from it, the best thing for you to do, okay, and I'm speaking from a subjective standpoint right now, but the best thing for you to do would be to understand it to the best of your ability, call it out, give it a name, and what can you learn from it? Once you find something you can learn from, then learn from it and keep that with you for the rest of your days. If you just think it's something that's so horrible, there's nothing you can learn from it, you hate it, it's horrible, because sometimes those are the feelings as well. Those are the emotions you feel. It's valid. Those are your emotions. I can't, nobody can say anything to you about how you feel about something because it's your life. But at the same time, it's like, are you going to let it just destroy you and be in a victim mindset and just be in this state of stagnancy and feeling stuck? Spirit don't want that for you, Spirit does not want that for you, because this life was meant to learn and to live and to grow and to learn to love. Whatever you didn't have, if you feel like you didn't have love, it's meant for you to learn to love. If you had trouble believing in yourself and that was a struggle for you, it's meant for you to learn how to believe in yourself. Whatever you feel like you didn't have, the task is for you to obtain it before you leave from here. It's like a life lesson of this lifetime. Like, whatever you struggle with, it's to overcome that struggle, and you graduate spiritually because you overcame the monster in your life that you thought was going to just destroy you, and you end up overcoming what you thought you couldn't. Is the goal, in life, for you to overcome what you thought you couldn't and find a space of wholeness. That is really the ultimate mastering of oneself. Okay, so yes, that is it for this message. So if you're someone who just feels like it's just hard when it comes to your emotions, it's a valid feeling. It's valid, but it's one of those things where we all go through a phase where we act up. It just is what it is. But then once you get out of that, honestly, you don't want to have anything to do with it. You don't. I don't want nothing to do with those people that act like that, because they're not at a space of understanding or being willing to change. So you don't even want to associate yourself with those types of people until they're at a point where they're ready to learn and listen, because otherwise there's nothing you could do with them. And this is just the truth. Once you understand this, there's just certain types of energy you can't stand to be around, because you know what that's like. You've been there before and you're not going back there. So there's just like boundaries that must be set, because when someone's in that toxic state of mind, they can easily drag somebody down with them that has learned from that phase already. So it really just depends on where you are, and it's not meant to make anyone feel any type of way. It's just phases of life that we go through, and once you come out of it, you're willing to help someone who wants to listen. But then at the same time, if you're around like a hothead, a hardhead, knucklehead type that you could tell they need the help but they don't want it, you got to separate yourself, because you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to help somebody that don't want to be helped because they're not ready for it. People have to be ready for the lesson to receive it, and they have to be open, willing, ready, and able to receive it, because otherwise you'll just be speaking to deaf ears. What's the point? It's a waste of time and energy. So it just really depends on where you are. Like I said, it's not to make nobody feel bad. It's just to make you see, to help you see where you are, and like, where do you want to be? Like, are you someone who has healed from traumatic experiences, and do you still have more work to do? Or are you someone who ignores the shadow work and you are suffering inside? Because these things are in your control if you would pay attention. Yeah. If you would pay attention to yourself a little more, you would know if you don't know. Or if you're just angry and you don't want to be, there's just shadow work for you to do. That's why you're feeling so angry. Sometimes I've heard people say, I'm mad and I don't know why. I mean, honestly, I remember feeling like that. I was angry and I didn't really know why. And it took the shadow work for me to understand myself and understand, why am I mad? Why am I angry? Those are those moments that you go through of realization. You gotta really take a step back and look at the situation objectively, so you could see what's wrong with you. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this message. I'm going to leave it there. If you deem this energy as suitable to continue to walk with you in your spiritual journey, to evaluate yourself so you can be the best version of you, Drop it down in the comments below. 8888. I declare this is an aspect of my love. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're feeling my vibe, especially if this message does resonate with you. And also, you can join the membership here on YouTube to gain access to additional content. Thanks for listening. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.